What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. The reason we keep talking about these folks is because they are amazing. They're here for me. They're here for you. What Off the Record does is they sit there quietly waiting for you to get pulled over for a moving violation. And when you do, you don't plead guilty. You get off the record. You get off the record. You go to offtherecord.com/TST. You tell them a little bit about your ticket, send the copy of the ticket. They then assign an attorney in the jurisdiction where you got pulled over to fight that ticket. That could mean negotiating with the prosecutor. It could mean going to trial. You don't have to be there. They're there. You're chilling at home. You have sent a representative, and if Off the Record doesn't get those points from that violation off your record or keep them off your record, you don't have to pay. Their service is very reasonably priced, but if you go to offtherecord.com/TST, you will get 10% off all legal services that you book through Off the Record. If you get pulled over for a little one or a very, very big one, don't plead guilty. Get Off the Record, offtherecord.com/TST. We love them. All right, on this episode of the podcast, Zach and I review the BGB Motorsports twin-turbo Porsche Cayman with a 911 Turbo S powertrain in it. Also, we learn about Zach's mom's much more interesting Volkswagen Beetle story. The PCH has reopened, and I take my first drive back. But first, Eric's desk has left the building. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Let's go.
I looked in that fridge and I saw a lot of Bang Energy, and I was like, I don't know if I want it. I've never had that before.
Bang Energy, dude.
It's creatine plus stuff.
Fuck yeah, bro. I'm fucking ready. I can't imagine drinking an energy drink before working out.
No, it's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like I'd have a heart attack.
Oh, true. If you have too much, especially now at our age. But like back in the day, in my 20s and 30s, pre-workout, powdered stuff, you were a superhero. It's why you overtrain, and then you don't understand why you're
break
growing.
Something. Yeah.
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 The 30s, you get injured more. The 20s, you're just like, I'll just work out for 2 hours and then keep shaking.
I think I didn't have that in my 20s. Yeah.
There was one.
I
forget which pre-workout it was, but everyone was like, "Why does this make my skin itch?"
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yowza. That's like what heroin withdrawals does.
It was weird, but it was after you drank it, you're like, and then I threw that one away.
The one I would keep hearing about is the one that would change the color of people's pee.
Most of them did that.
Yeah.
Basically, that's too much vitamins. Like anytime you take too many vitamins, even multis, like your pee's going to be neon.
Yeah.
There's just different shades of neon. And then
what does orange mean?
The best one, I never did this, but the funniest one was early 2000s when they realized that Hydroxycut literally had amphetamines in it. And it was like, look at us losing weight. And you're like, this is illegal, and it's what they did in the 30s.
I don't know much about supplements, but I do remember Hydroxycut equals bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then they changed the formula and no one bought it because it stopped working.
For the amount of energy I put into working out, which is a lot.
Yes.
Despite, the results, I probably could spend an extra 10% doing the supplement thing and achieve probably some significantly better results.
Supplements only make, and this is like me quoting Lane Norton, who's PhD powerlifter, they only add like 5% once your nutrition's perfect. And
so I need
that's
HGH like in testosterone.
That is different. Yeah, that's different. Yeah. Like there's supplements and then there's PEDs.
Yeah.
Those will make a difference no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm. And like, I don't have a sanctioning body. Like, let's let her rip, right?
Pretty much.
Just fucking go. The only reason I don't do that kind of stuff is literally needles. My fear of needles has really kept me pretty safe.
Yeah.
Pretty safe. Yeah.
You'd have to research if there are long-term effects of such things because I don't know. And you see both sides on the internet, so.
There's a lot of things I do that I do not research the long-term effects of.
That's a good point, yeah.
But needles keeps me away from the most dangerous ones.
Listening to Bert talk about taking testosterone in the beginning was the funniest shit because I think him and Tom are both on it, but Bert would sit there and just be like, I feel it, man. Like, I can feel it. And Tom's like, The contrast of their personalities was so evident right there.
One of us is proud to be a testosterone junkie.
Just excited.
Yeah. When I was like, 40 pounds heavier, I got prescribed the Ozempic.
Oh, wow.
But it was I never took it.
Oh, that's
Sat in my
right.
fridge for 2 years.
That's right.
Yeah, could have sold it for like $1,500 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shit expired though. Yeah, only because I didn't want to stab myself with a needle. That was it. That was the only
right. It's-
real thing that kept me from doing it, and like a slight amount of pride to see if I was capable of losing weight without it,
Which you did.
which I was.
You look good. That sweatshirt also very good.
This is a good sweatshirt.
Got a good shape, but
This
you
is
have a good shape. Yeah.
Did but it was possible. But I probably would have been a lot easier with the whatsies.
Maybe, but I mean, I think I told you the story that Judd Apatow,
Mm-hmm.
he told us recently that he was proud that he beat the Ozempic because he was taking it, but he'd also overeat while taking it. And he's like, my need for food just beat my need to lose weight. And he was oddly proud.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, Judd.
Exactly.
Everyone's got a record for something,
Right?
You know,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Got to put your name, got to put your stamp on something.
His discipline beat his discipline.
Yeah. And, like, obviously, fucking, I don't give a shit what people take. No problem. Take it. Have fun. But, yeah, needles was the only reason I didn't. If there was, like, a fucking one that was pills, I would have been 100% in on day one.
I mean, there's definitely steroids that are pills, but they're
No,
different.
but
Yeah.
like an Ozempic, probably like drug.
Oh, okay.
In 2023, I would have taken that shit orally
Gotcha,
right away.
Okay.
Right away. But I didn't want to do the old stab skis. If I'm about to die, no problem with the stab skis. But short of that, it's got to be an EpiPen. And I don't really have any.
One day we'll come in and you're going to have like the steroid delt that's like very hard to build. And I'll be like, I see you got over your needles.
You've overcome this. Yeah. It's Memorial Day today. You're not going to be listening to this on Memorial Day, almost certainly. But day started off fun. When you get a text from somebody at 7 o'clock in the morning on a holiday saying, you're not going to believe this one. And Eric's desk exploded.
I'm going to see if I can put it on the chat. Or in the
you can airdrop it. Yeah.
So keep talking
I have the
yourselves.
security video. It happened at approximately 10 something last night. I don't know if this has ever happened to anybody else. This is actually the second time this has happened to me.
What?
Yeah. The first time.
Stop fucking on the desk, man.
The first time we got to go back to 99. And what I'm talking about right now is spontaneous glass combustion.
Yeah.
Maybe someone out there's had this happen. You ever have a table that's made of glass or a door that's made of glass? And glazier type folks will say that this is like actually happens a lot. So in the bottom of this video, Eric's desk is glass, and there it goes. It just decides to exit the building.
And on top of it was what, an iMac?
On top of that is an iMac and a
Monitor.
phone and, a bunch of other regular desk stuff that all sort of tumbles into the center.
But it should be said that like the weight of those things are
Yeah.
mostly over the supports. And
Yeah,
yet-
no.
and
This
yet
is
it's-
this was not a weight issue.
Right, it's just-
this
but it-
desk has been there for 5 years. It's like it's the and yes, the heavy thing is on the stanchion. It's not adding weight.
Yeah.
But this is the second time this happened. The last time this happened, take it back to 99. We're at my friend Dave D's house, his parents' house in Mamaroneck, New York. Beautiful home on the water. High schoolers. We're high school seniors. And we're sitting out by their pool. And, one of those big round glass outdoor tables. You know
Yeah.
them tables that
Yeah, yeah.
everyone had in the 90s where the glass is a little wavy? You know those tables?
Yeah.
Sitting around. And I remember it distinctly because everyone had brought their own bong. So not only did the table break, but it took everyone's bong with it. Took like 5 really nice bongs out
I think
with it.
Big Parent was up to something.
Yeah.
I think they
He hit a squib on that bit.
Yeah, exactly. they did a little tap. They knew you were having a party the next day. They put a little scratch in
but
there.
like,
wow.
and this wasn't pre-internet, but it was like almost pre-internet. It was way pre, YouTube or anything like that. And so, and certainly pre-smartphone. And so it was like, we thought the fucking Poltergeist was doing like.
Well, especially if you were post-bong.
We're sitting around the table. It's not. We all watched it happen. It wasn't like we walked away and came back and it was broken. Like without a security camera, you'd think someone somehow broke into the building and smashed this thing. But like, it happens. It's spontaneous glass combustion. It's so
Imagine the smell of that patio. You had to throw it away. Just 5 bongs just burst. Oh, God.
What do you do?
Did the parents think that you guys were lying and you all had your alibi together? That you're like, all of you are like, we swear.
Nobody.
Sure.
Nobody believed us that it was a spontaneous glass explosion.
Of course not.
Just like nobody believed us that we saw that movie that we told our parents we saw. It's like, yeah, we were high as fuck, but we did go to the movie, Mom. Just sucked.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, I mean, my morning was spent with Vinny cleaning up safety glass from the floor. So, yeah, and now, until we get a new desk, Eric, down there, we got the little, like, plastic folding table. It looks like Eric's fucking running a library book sale down there.
Yeah, I said he was demoted. I texted him.
Yeah, so that was fun. I do have to issue a correction. The patron who called me out last episode was correct about the Cybertruck loan thing. I checked every source, and I swear to God, don't know where I got it from, but not true. Okay. So I apologize, and that's my bad. I'll tell you what, though. That shit has been in there for a long time.
What
the wrong thing that I thought? I've thought that for a long time. Oh. I didn't just come up with that now. That goes fucking back. I don't know how long I've thought that, but it's been a long time. But like, dude, who knows? Who knows? I'm sorry. That was incorrect.
Okay.
But I checked with everyone up to and including Niedermeyer. I was like, dude, help me out. Where did this come from? He was like, I don't know, dude, but that ain't right. I was like,
man.
Whoops.
All right. Well, I'll add a comment.
So yeah, you can add
pod.
Yeah. I mean, my bad. I don't know why I thought that, but
it's the thing. The lie gets around the world. So
yeah,
you read it somewhere or something.
It came from somewhere, and the somewhere appeared perfectly credible at the time. But that shit goes back years for reals. Like,
I've been telling people that for a while.
I mean, what are you gonna do other than be like, whoops, and own up to that shit, and like, and go about your life. Otherwise, if I but you got to own up to it first. First step one. My bad. Mm-hmm. And whoever that was, I forget who it was. The patron. It's a regular in the comments or in the questions who called me out. Good call out.
Also, I appreciate the way they approached it. They're like, because they said, I looked around for this thing. I can't find it. Can you direct me that information?
And you know what happened? I went and looked.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I went and looked. I spent probably more time than I should have allocated to it. But you know what? It ended in a fucking goose egg.
Ooh, awkward. Joseph Smith, can you find these golden plates again? Actually, I can't.
Yikes.
I got a Beetle story from my mom.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude, let's go.
If people didn't listen, both of our
It's really Volkswagen week on the
Really Matt's dad owned a VW Beetle. My mom also owned one at basically the same time, I think, late 60s. And she had a slightly different interest and reason for buying it than your dad. So she had a Mustang for a while. She traded it and got an old MGTD, which is what she really, really wanted.
An MGTD?
MGTD.
Whoa.
And let me find this thing. Her dad
Where did she live at the time?
Bakersfield. And her dad owned a scrapyard. So it's possible. I don't know. I didn't get the story on this.
An MGTD is an MG from the 50s that looks like it's from the fucking 30s.
Yeah, it's mini Gatsby. It's mini Gatsby status.
But people ran these things in like trials and shit.
The British hill climb in the dirt that they call trials.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
very charming.
Super charming.
What?
And
she goes from a Mustang to this.
Exactly.
Wow.
And she wanted this for a long time, she said. And her parents got her a Mustang instead. Maybe scrapyard supply situation.
Yeah, if you're parents, you're not fucking getting this for your kid.
No, definitely. Look at these wheels. This is
Not
motorcycle
not
tires.
if a relatively new Mustang is available at the time.
Yeah, that's exactly
You're in the
right.
middle 60s. You're not fucking buying this thing
Get
for
a
your
10-year-old British car that no one can work on.
Okay, Sheldon. Like, fuck.
Nigel. We take it to Nigel.
Okay.
I don't know why her parents sound like that.
All right, so she's in an MG.
So she had this.
Okay.
I guess they had to like fix it up a bit, and then her boyfriend at the time crashed it very soon after. And so she said after all the work that had gone into it, she figured she should get something, quote, more humble, cheaper, and easily replaceable. Plus, the Volkswagen was super cool and innovative at the time. She wrote, kind of like the Tesla truck.
Shit. Wow.
I have to ask her follow-up questions on why she thinks that's innovative.
Context matters.
Look, she's like 82.
Wow.
She's like, look at this amazing truck. Well,
Yeah.
I'll explain when I see them this week. I said, what about it was innovative? I know, but I want to know what you saw. And she said the shape, easy as pie, smooth gear shift, and the agility.
Okay.
So she liked the size, the shifting, and the shape.
Okay.
I guess so she liked the rear engine, front trunk.
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So she actually like these are totally different opinions. Yeah. Meanwhile, it was also the fucking like cheapest car, around.
Right.
So okay, cool. Thank you,
Lila
Mrs. Clapman.
Clapman, yeah.
Thank you very much. So a couple of things. One, I drove PCH for the first time on Sunday. It's open, 2 lanes each way. Folks, got to take a quick break from the show for Truewerk, who is supporting us this week. Look, most gear gets built to look like it works. Truewerk is different. Built for real conditions, hot rooftops, quick turns, jobs that don't ease up, with sweat-wicking fabric, unrestricted movement, and strength that holds firm under pressure. Truewerk helps keep pace when it matters. They're not here to mimic hard work. They're here to support it. Every seam is intentional. Every feature is tested, because out in the field, you don't get respected by looking the part. You earn it by doing things right again and again. That's the bar. Truewerk was built to meet it with gear that works harder, moves better, and proves itself every time. Now, let me tell you something, Dak. I don't work in a mine. I don't work on the railroad. I don't do a lot of manual labor. But Truewerk sent me some pants and a hoodie and a lightweight UV-resistant sort of hoodied shirt thing. They're comfortable. They are soft. They're stretchy. Wear them up on the mountain when driving a convertible car. I wore the stretchy thing on the beach when walking with Hannah. I don't do any of this hot rooftop stuff, but the Truewerk is still quite good. I've got it all hanging in the closet right now. The problem is that traditional workwear hasn't changed much over 200 years, and Truewerk upgrades the traditional classics by using the same fabrics worn by elite outdoor athletes. That's me. I'm the elite outdoor athlete. Truewerk has over 50,000 5-star reviews and countless stories from trade pros in every state and every job across the country. Right? I put these clothes on and I feel soft. I feel breathing. I'm not schwitzing in there. Whether you're going hiking, going to work, going to Erewhon, you can wear Truewerk. You will fit in and it will be comfy. Check out the full Truewerk lineup and get 15% off your first order at truewerk.com/tire. That's 15% off at truewerk.com/tire. And thank you to Truewerk for sponsoring today's program. Plus, it's a big one, Zach. You ready, Red?
Mm-hmm. Hit me.
Finally, this far into the podcast, this far into doing it over 1,000 episodes, cat food. We finally have cat food.
Wow.
It's taken me this long, but Smalls is here, and they make cat food. I love my cats. If you follow on Instagram, you know I love my cats. They are a loved bunch in my house. We have 4 of them. We've set up our entire house to make their lives better. But the one thing they're picky about, not where they sleep, which is anywhere, not the scritchels they like, which is all of them, and not the snurgs, because they like them too. But sometimes they get very picky about their food. They decide out of nowhere that they don't like the food anymore, and you've already bought like 3 months worth of food. It can be a disaster, right? Maybe this is your cat, or maybe your cat is having digestive issues, or throwing up, or getting hairballs, or maybe in need of a diet upgrade. You know who's in need of a diet upgrade? Cricket. My Cricket is a little bit spherical, and we need to work on that. So I'm trying Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your own fridge, delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. To get 35% off plus an additional 50% off your first order, head to smalls.com and use promo code TIRE for a limited time only. Now, Smalls, they want me to talk about how my cats like the food. Truth be told, they liked the food. They really did like the food a lot, to the point where they sent me a little sample pack. I actually had to answer a little questionnaire about each of the cats. I was honest. I wasn't kind. Cricket is a little too round, but they all eat together, so they kind of have to have the same diet. We can't just feed one cat differently. So they sent me a sort of a variety pack, and man, did my cats just rip through everything. And even if you give your cats dry food, Smalls makes a good topper. Because you really should transition. You got to have some protein-filled wet food in your cat's diet. You can't just have kibble all the time, right? Right. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements, which is a huge deal. Smalls is so confident that your cat will love their product that you can try it risk-free. That means they will refund you fully if your cat doesn't eat their food. For a limited time only, because you're a Smoking Tire listener, get 35% off Smalls plus an additional 50% off your first order by using code TIRE, T-I-R-E. That's an additional 50% off when you head to smalls.com and use promo code TIRE. Promo code TIRE for an additional 50% off your order, plus free shipping at smalls.com. And thank you for being the first cat food company to sponsor this program after 20 years of having 4 cats. That's it.
I think that's so funny. You got an engine before you got cat food.
I drove PCH for the first time on Sunday. It's open, 2 lanes each way. Seeing things that are not there anymore is pretty shocking. I know there's plenty of videos of it, and people with passes have been driving up and down there for months. But pretty terrible thing to see. Interesting thing to be seeing from the ID Buzz, which is like the cheeriest, thing ever, going by these burnt out shells of businesses and stuff. But particularly if you're in LA, now that it's open, please drive safely and go back to Malibu and support businesses and restaurants and stuff like that. Them motherfuckers have been on an island for a minute. Yeah. I've been doing all my shopping in Malibu. But it's good. Yeah, PCH being open, I think, the traffic for the last 5.5 months has been horrific because everyone from there has to go around this other one way because there's mountains and that's it. So hopefully that relieves some of the shit show in the mornings and afternoons here. And it's nice to have at least partial PCH back. People were getting really shitty about PCH not reopening, and I have to believe that well-intentioned people were making every good faith effort to get the fucking road open.
It's like the busiest highway. It's probably the busiest scenic highway in the United States that's also used for commuting. It is a tourist destination on its own, and it is where how people get to and from work from Thousand Oaks and Oxnard and all the other places. Like, no one wants it open more than the people that probably run the highway.
Yeah, so thanks for all that hard work, and keep it up. But it's going to be a little slow, probably, particularly during busy beach hours and stuff. But definitely smooth, passable, doable in sports cars. It's not hacked up, and a couple sections a little bumpier than they used to be, but not terrible. Can do in a sports car both ways.
Did the tarmac get wrinkled from the heat or something?
A little bit, or from something. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what, but there's a little little shittiness, but fucking sad, man. But I'm glad it's like at least moving towards something. The understanding, our friend Peter, who lost his house, the guy who wrote Demolition Man, it seems based on his social media that he intends to rebuild his house. So it's on the ocean there.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like he's posting a lot of pictures of just like empty lots.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but like, oof. Should we talk about that Porsche Cayman? Because it is.
Yeah.
It is really.
It's worth
really
talking about.
something.
Do you have a
Boy, did it get? Yeah, there it is, right there, top center. You can skip to the photo that doesn't have me in it. Photos 2 and 3 don't have me in it. That is fucking. I'm always ruining photos by like being in them. It's like, get the fuck out of the way. Show me the car.
But the algorithm shows that a photo with your face probably outperforms a photo.
I gotta
photo
get a
of
yellow
car.
shirt and then we're really in the money, bro. So yeah, there's a company out of Florida, Daytona, Florida, called BGB Motorsports. They're a racing team. From what I gathered from John, like they don't really do street cars, like really at all. They're really a racing team. They're an IMSA. They're an endurance team. And they build fucking race cars. And you know here's how I know that they're good at this, because their website is terrible. Yeah. And if you're in the motorsports industry, if you have like a great website, I would look out. If your website was made in like 2002 and never touched and maybe just like added to, like there's like 75 menus at the top of this website, usually you're pretty good at your job because you're too busy doing your job to fuck with the website.
Yeah. And they have been a race team for about 20 years.
Yeah.
Racing in IMSA, Michelin, whatever, all the different names that they've used for that series. But that's where their focus is sports car racing.
Yeah. And so Mitch, who from M Engineering, Mitch McKee, who we've had on the show, emails me and he goes, "Hey, man, I tuned this thing and like you have to drive this. Like it's batshit." And I was like, well, all right. So he introduced me to John from BGB, who says he's going to bring the car out here. And I'm like, okay, if you want to. So this is a Cayman, a 2016 Cayman GTS with the engine from a 991.2 Turbo S. It does fit, technically speaking. The intake plumbing and charge cooler plumbing takes up basically all of the rear trunk.
Yes.
And there is a
water tank in the front,
right,
which is used for the water air intercooler.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is in the front. It's got like a front mount. What they, I suppose, used to call a front mount is now just called a fucking intercooler. So you do lose some cargo space. But other than that, the car works at pretty much, quote, as factory, meaning like all the functions work, gauges work, the climate control works, the power seats work. Like you can push buttons and the things do what they're supposed to do. It's really loud.
It is extremely loud. I think it's louder. We're tied with a GT4 RS. It's a slightly different tone, but it's
definitely louder.
Because you also have wastegate and turbo whistle added to the intake, which they put the intakes just behind your ears, much like GT4 RS, which you can see in this photo if you're watching. And then the intake tubes run through the trunk and then down into the airbox. Yeah,
so the airbox is in a different place than the GT4 RS, where it's right behind your head. So you don't have that intake resonance. Instead, as John is trying to work his way through, you have a bit of an exhaust drone because of how you have to route the exhaust. And he's like, this poor guy is like tearing his hair out to try to figure out how to get rid of this drone.
His description was wonderful. He's like, 2600 to 3300 is drone town.
18 to 26.
18 to 26?
18 to 26.
Drone town.
If you keep it over 3, it's okay. Which, because of Porsche, it's fine. And it's essentially a stock engine. Other than what they've had to plumb to make it fit, and the aftermarket cooling, it is a stock engine. It's running what he's calling a stock map although it's sort of optimized. It's
it was confusing. The dyno chart looks super smooth and great, but he said it's a stock map.
Yeah.
So I think it's running stock boost levels and everything.
Yeah.
They didn't.
He
turn
just
it
had
up
Mitch
beyond that. I think they just had that.
Just make it nice.
Yeah.
But he also had to have Mitch do it because he's using the Cayman's PDK. Like, it's not the PDK from the 911 because it goes the other way.
Right.
Right? So it's so there is a limitation theoretically at the gearbox, right?
Power limitation, right?
A power limitation. Yeah. And so, a couple people, ask, rightly so, like, is it running like 700 horsepower? Because you can. It's like, no, it's running like, he said 580.
580 wheel, he said.
Yeah, which is like
plenty.
650.
Yep.
And a very flat, very big torque curve.
Yeah.
And so, on the street, this is a lot faster than my car. Like,
really
my car makes 520 at the wheels, 528 at the wheels, according to that dyno. But it builds and builds and builds and builds, and the peak is up at 8. Mm-hmm. So most of the time, it's not actually making that. Whereas with these turbo cars, with that torque curve, you hit the fucking pedal, and from 3 to 8, you're at VMAX acceleration, basically.
I think the number was, it was making like 350 pound-feet at like 3,000 RPM, and then the peak torque was 5 whatever, and that was happening at 4,100, which is far earlier, obviously, than peak torque of the NA engine, and I guess earlier than.
And then peak horsepower is like 72,
right.
So it's like a wider spread. Whereas my engine, I think peak torque is 370, but it's like 5,600 RPM, and then peak power is 8,250. So this is a real meaty punch right in the middle, far earlier than my car. Plus you have like that, that huge like inhalation, and spool, and you get to ride that wave. I mean, this feels like it actually finally maxes out the chassis.
Yeah.
Particularly because this car doesn't have a wing on it. And for me, when you got going, you approach the end of straightaways much quicker than in almost anything. I mean, basically, this is as fast as McLaren 570, perhaps 600 LT. That's what we're talking about, but in a Cayman.
And sound wise, it reminded me so much of like McLaren 650.
Yeah,
and the power delivery, the torque curve, and also that intake sound, the whistle. It was very much like driving those McLarens that have the intake like on the roof.
Yeah,
sensory. Not overload, but close.
Yeah,
it's good.
And in fact, if they pursue this, I mean, the side window scoops are very cool, but I might also consider a roof scoop option.
Yeah,
could be extremely rad. And he knows about the aerodynamics, so about if that's viable or not, I'm sure he could tell you because he probably does like wind tunnel shit. But it did feel in a lot of ways like when you started pushing it and going really quick through corners and stuff, the rear end felt like I'm getting to the edge of what this is actually capable of. And certainly at the end of the straightaway when you went from gas to brake, the rear went, which is what early McLaren 570s did too. I told him, he knows too. It needs like the RS wing basically on it to keep the back on the.
There's a reason the RS has it, and this, like, I love the Cayman's little ducktail and it looks nice and stuff, but when you can get going as fast as you can in this, and then you jump on the brakes and you feel that in the back, like you'll opt for the wing. Yeah,
it's what it has right now is like a runway setup.
Yeah,
where you can go flat, 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 and then just lightly roll out of it and transfer the weight smoothly, and then it's fine. But if you go get full gas to heavy brake, ooh, that gets light back there.
Yeah,
and you're going very, very fast. It also has the Club Sport brakes, which is really cool, and John said he worked with whoever the pad company was. Carbotech? I think it was Carbotech. To make a pad that fit the Club Sport brakes, but was more like a high-performance street pad that wasn't as noisy.
Yeah. So it's a no-squeak track pad almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
And it's a one-off because he was like, I know you guys would complain about the squeaking, but you got a race caliper, and race cars don't give a shit if they squeak because there's all the kinds of noise anyway. But yeah, they got this one-off pad that apparently everyone's asking him to make.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hold on, slow down."
But yeah, this is really wild stuff. Excuse me, and sorry, and I don't think it doesn't seem like they're trying to like make a run of these. You know, this one's still like a little scruffy. It's like a prototypey thing, but it does work.
Yes.
But I think if people do want one, you know, they're willing to. There's some different things you could do. John emailed me and he was like, because I put in his head he should do a Boxster, and he's like, should I? He's like, I either want to do this with a manual, or like a GT4 RS manual swap, or like this in a Boxster Spider. And I was like, I don't know, all of those sound pretty fun, but like, I don't know. I vote for finishing
Spider.
this first with a wing and that kind of stuff, and going out and like making a video where you beat a McLaren around something.
Yeah. Well, because the challenge with the Spider would be the air intake, right? Because right now the intakes are up near your shoulders, which was interesting. He said they did that on their race cars because the air is much cooler. You know, you're further away from the hot tarmac.
Yeah.
And so the intake temperature, what did he say? It's like basically just 10 degrees above ambient, whereas if it's down low, it's pulling from the heat from the brake rotor and the tarmac, and it could be like, 110, 120, depending on where you're racing.
Yeah, he said if they were doing a Spider, he might have to eliminate the roof entirely to make space for other stuff, but he might also have to do a snorkel scoop of some kind.
Very
and
F1.
I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds all right. I'm in. Sounds like a good time.
If it's shaped well, it works for Gunther Works,
Yeah.
They got all the speedster things. No one needs a roof.
Yeah, but like this was really something.
This was the most exciting Cayman I've ever driven, and I think above GT4 RS only because of that torque punch, all the sounds. I mean, it sounds like it's half, Mark IV Supra big turbo, but then you have Porsche flat six sound. You got the intake right behind you, and it's so small, it just makes it extra exciting, and it doesn't feel as planted as like a GT4 RS or a GT3 or a GT2 RS. So because it's small, it doesn't have the aerodynamics sorted out in the back, so it's like extra exciting. It's fucking cool.
Real rowdy.
Yeah. It still has the stock adaptive damper, but it's got a new spring on it and then a bunch of Club Sport like control arms and things.
Yeah, basically they wanted it to work like OEM.
Yeah.
So they did the complete Club Sport everything, but took out the Club Sport fixed damper and put in the GT4 adaptive damper.
Correct.
So, I mean, I don't know. I thought the ride was great. Like, it was fine.
Yeah.
You did actually have to drive it in the sport shock.
Yes.
You did not want to fuck with this thing in the normal shock. It actually was it was past that. It also had some, I don't know what the tires were, but they were some sticky ickies. They were something very sticky.
Yeah. PS4? I don't know.
No, they weren't PS4s. They were definitely R compounds, like either Toyo Proxies or the like R888s or something. They weren't that loud, but they were really, really sticky. It was a lot. This was a handful of a car.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. And you could drive it slower. Like you don't have to go that fast. But like me and Zach, we only have one day. Let's fucking make sure this is a good time. And it's funny because John kept, this is a guy who builds race cars. And we went up, did our normal thing on the mountain. There is a video of this, by the way, and you guys will get it sooner rather than later. But he was like, "Yeah, a car's never been driven that hard." I was like, we didn't do it. We didn't drive. I swear to God, did not drive it that hard. So I don't know how it like looks from the outside or whatever,
right,
or like what he is really like expecting. But like they build race cars. Like I would have thought that hard would be a different. Like the Overton window for hard is like not.
And I would add that
this
car had 3,000 miles on it, and I believe they've taken it to racetracks in Florida. So maybe he's done the driving, and it's different when you're. We hear this all the time. When you watch your car get driven,
sure,
you go, "Ooh, is that hard? Is that fast? Whatever."
Yeah.
So maybe it was that kind of thing.
And I don't mean this like in a negative way towards him or the car in any way. It's just like I've heard it from other people before. Like, oh, it's been hard. It's like really. Like, I don't think I went within 1,500 RPM of the red line more than once or twice just to see what would happen.
It's a surprising descriptor.
Yeah.
It's nothing about their assessment. It's like we are surprised that they use that word.
Yeah. Do you think it's because they're always, when we're doing the drive-bys, they're always standing where you're standing, and I'm literally doing things to create whatever the maximum drama at that moment for the camera, whether it's like a backfire or like a boost spool or something for the camera, and so they don't realize that as soon as I go around the corner, I'm just like puttering around to the next
probably, and also like they're closer to the road. Where if you're at a racetrack, I mean,
right?
How close can you get to most of the track, depending on where you are? Sometimes there's barriers that separate you by several feet, 20 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To follow up with that one,
fucking exciting and fast and loud. I mean, it
is all.
It would be hard. It'd be hard to drive this on the street for any time beyond I'm driving to the canyon, I'm in the canyon, or I'm driving to a racetrack. Like this for me is a once a week kind of thing, unless you're really into crazy science experiments.
Yeah, no, this is not a daily driver car. I mean, even though it's automatic, right? And even though it's got comfort seats, and it actually has like extended leather and some contrast stitching. Like, it's a pretty nice car they started with, but it's just too fucking loud. I mean, you couldn't drive this every day. Maybe if it was a Spider, it wouldn't be as loud somehow, because the roof does keep things in, and you're sharing airspace with the entire length of the intake tubes.
That's true.
But if they figure out how to kill the exhaust drone, which I think they will eventually, some combination of parts will work. Or customization, or who the fuck knows. Maybe they have to shoot them straight back up through the through the roof. But if you want to go McLaren fast in a Cayman, that's it.
Yeah, I want to look up what McLaren 650 prices are.
Used 650, buck and a quarter.
Wow. Well, in 2023, you could get one on Cars and Bids for $100,000, which is
I think
shockingly.
I think Harry
cheap.
Metcalf got one pretty cheap. Like he traded in a Mira for it cheap. He probably threw in a little extra cash on top, but
that's wild. I mean,
I think he talked about what he paid for it, but it didn't seem. I don't think it was much.
That's nuts.
Yeah, 650s are not expensive. I mean, excuse me, relative to what they once were.
Yes.
And what that money is buying you in terms of speed.
Yeah. Which was the carbon floor one we drove? Was that 650 GT?
675 LT.
Okay.
You mean that black one?
I think I'm thinking like the 570.
Your thing, there was like a 620R.
Yeah, that.
We had.
That's what it was.
620Rs are probably rare. I think that was a very limited edition car, whereas a 600 LT is a much more common version of that. And they're still kind of expensive. I mean, I catch myself again. They're all fucking crazy expensive.
No, you're right. I mean, 620Rs are holding value
because
they're better because they're
rare.
They were 300 to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because I was trying to figure out like what you compare this to in the price of the thing and what you could get for it in terms of excitement and speed and stuff like so.
Right. So it's about $120,000 plus any Cayman from 2016 till now. Mm-hmm. Any engine, any Cayman, any engine. So
find one with a blown engine.
If you find, I mean, you probably don't want like a base one because you're just going to have to do a lot of suspension work. If you start with like a Spider or a GT4, I mean, they can't do Spiders yet, but if you were to start with a GT4 with a blown motor, you could be in a pretty good spot.
That's a good point.
That's a great spot to be.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what a GT4 with a blown motor goes for, but let's take a swing at it and call it 40 to 50 grand. I'm not really sure, but add 120. If you could keep this under $200,000, I mean, that's a weapon, and it's fucking much weirder than showing up in a whatever used McLaren.
Yeah.
I don't suspect they'll sell too many of these because it is very extreme. But it's a cool thing to know that someone can do. And now we know a 911 Turbo S engine fits in a Cayman. And that's a good thing to know.
It's pretty wild, yeah. A little bit of... They didn't have to do too much, like, any cutting or anything. They had to, like, flip the engine around. And I asked if he had to make new engine mounts. And he said, because Porsche is Porsche, you know, they try to do the most engineering in the beginning to make the most things fit as easily as possible later. So in the engine, there were actually holes that were, like, tapped that just needed to be drilled through to then mount it in the Cayman.
Oh.
Or vice versa, but like, yeah, no, I think it was in the engine case. Like the engine case is basically ready for either thing. You just have to like drill the hole. So that actually fit pretty easily. There was the programming that took, he said it was 4 months between when they installed the shit and turned it on and when getting it out of park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's a hypothetical. If they wanted to actually sell these types of cars, instead of using a 911 Turbo S engine, I would use the lesser 3-liter engine, tune it to about 400 horsepower, 400, maybe 450 on an overboost or a sport mode, right? Make it like pretty reasonable and make it like not so loud, you know, figure out like a streetable intake option, you know, leave it with cats. So maybe it has like a chance of passing, you know, carb. And I think you would have a package and I know the problem is it wouldn't be any less expensive to like engineer that.
Right.
And it wouldn't be less like it probably the packaging and all that would be almost the same.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
because you have to keep it cool.
Yeah. And it probably is designed to fit in the same cradle because in the 911 it would fit in the same place in the same way. So they're probably interchangeable in that. Maybe they are. Maybe the engineering is transferable. And like you could just use that engine instead and save money that way.
That's true. If you want,
or if you wanted something that like wasn't quite so nuts, but still was like, I mean, look, if this thing had 450 horsepower, it would still be faster than any other Cayman on the road.
Right, and you have that low torque, which is really nice.
Yeah, it would rip. It might even be a better Canyon car because you know the boost really starts coming on in this car around 3,000 RPM, and maybe if you had the smaller turbos or smaller, it might come on earlier, and it might actually feel quicker on the street.
That's true.
Or as quick. We'll have to ask John what the math is on if they were to do one that had a smaller engine. If that would, I suspect he would say the incremental difference in buying a Carrera-based engine versus a turbo engine used is and having a separate set of engineering for that engine probably not worth it.
Because the price of the engine, he said, it surprised me. I think it was like 15 to 20 for a Turbo S engine.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a lot. It was lower than I was expecting. I guess if there's a car around it that's destroyed, then and how many things can it go into? Not many. It's not like an LS, which goes in much easier.
Right.
But I wonder if with the smaller engine thing, you run into the same thing we discussed with Koenigsegg in the 3-cylinder, where if the person can shell out the money for this conversion, which is expensive, and you go, hey, we offer a weaker engine also, but it costs almost the same to put in, they go, why would I do that?
Sure. That makes sense. The only reason I could think of is like it's quieter and mellow enough to actually use as a regular car.
No, it might be a better thing, but funny enough, when you get to that type of project, people go, well, I want the bigger name of Turbo S and the more expensive and the more power.
Yeah. It's like Preuninger told me. People will suffer through any financial penalty or indignity in the car if it makes it go faster. Like, Andy, why does it not have a trunk? A 911 is supposed to have a trunk. Well, it goes faster, and the RS people would rather it goes faster than have a trunk.
Yeah, look, we just did that with this. This has no trunk and half a frunk now.
Well,
and we're on
listen,
board.
I really like this guy, John, and I really like this car, but I don't want one. I want the one I have, and part of that is because none of that other shit is impacted.
True.
And this is for hardcore people, like really fucking hardcore people. Yeah. And that's cool. There's a few of them.
I love this science experiment shit.
Yeah, cool. It's excellent. And we should figure out what the math would be on the smaller engine. It might be a more reasonable option, particularly if, like if in like the Boxster cars or something, if it's hard to get as much cooling or whatever.
Yeah.
If there's a benefit to that, to a Roadster that has a slightly, I don't know, smaller. I don't fucking know. Got it. Anyway, it's fun. Thank
Very,
you to
very
them.
fun.
Check out the video. I am pretty much out of notes. Wow, that Celsius makes me burp so much.
Oh.
That shit is like fucking super, super bubbly.
At least your skin doesn't itch.
Huh?
At least your skin doesn't itch.
Says you. You think I tell you everything? Let's go to the Patreon. I love the Patreon. I love you patrons. You guys are great. Call me on my bullshit sometimes. That's okay. The Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast, is where you will find exclusive content, extra pro driver shows, content released before the general public gets it, content without advertising, live programming, and the ability to ask questions of your hosts during the live streams.
That was solid.
Yeah?
You been watching the farm show?
The egret. Let's go to it. Oh, you...
Oh, sorry, I'm adding a few.
I just saw the username Buck Melanoma wins the day. Faux fucking real. Let's go to the angle of the dangle. Have the M4 GTS hit their ceiling, and what's their basement in your opinion? Well, I mean, there was a peak. There was a flipper market, and then they come down. I don't know what the... I mean, I'm sure there's a floor, but like, I don't know. The thing about the M4 GTS is it's not that cool to me. I
agree.
I haven't really paid much attention to the market on those. I don't really know what they go for. Let's try Cars and Bids today. Let's look for an M4 GTS on Cars and Bids, and let's see what some of the results are. We've had 3 different M4 GTSs here at WCCS since they came out.
Let me look up.
I don't like the seats, Zach. They aren't comfortable.
No, nothing on Cars and
None?
Bids. None.
Okay, let's try the old
Auto Tempest.
bringeth of a trailer.
That's probably a good place to go.
No, these are going to be auctions. I don't know what the floor is on these. I mean, certainly it has aesthetically aged quite nicely. Do we have any? Oh, here we go. We've got a few on BAT. 28 of them. Holy shit. So, okay, recent. Oh wow, last 2 in the last month. A 6,000 mile for 78, 3,900 mile for 83. I suspect, yeah. So there's a real difference between fucking wrapping paper ones like this 538 mile one for 95, and then if you drive it like up to 5,000 miles, it looks like 85. If you drive it more than that, maybe 75. Yeah, I mean, the more for the next 20 years, these are going to go down to about, what, 45 grand maybe, Zach?
Ooh. That would be interesting if they kept sinking that far, because they're special, but are they...
They're not that special.
Yeah. I haven't driven one in such a long time. I think for me, like, the M4 is so good at so many things, focusing it more just for track work. I don't know. I guess it's just not what I think of for 85 grand.
I've never really liked any of these like stiffened hardcore M3s and M4s. I don't like them that much. The versatility of those cars is what is their best suit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I mean, eventually, yes, people will go, wow, these were so special, in 20 years or whatever when all the cars start to come back. But I think the floor is like, in the full 40s, 50s if they're decent. But a lot of them, the ones that are being sold, have pretty low miles and are going to stay that way. Mm-hmm. Jim Kana, what is a better commuter car? Freeway with occasional canyon duty. IS 500, Lexus, or Alfa Giulia Quad, both used. Interesting.
It for me, it depends on how occasional that canyon duty is. If it's
How
twice
used.
a year, also that, and also does have a warranty. So let's just assume they both have a warranty. If I'm doing the canyons twice a year and otherwise it's just commuting, IS 500. But I think it's probably just like.
See, this one's kind of crazy because Usually when you put the Alfa against any other sedan, it's like, well, the Alfa has the better engine, right? Like almost always. But I actually like the Lexus's engine better.
Of course.
That's a fucking great engine.
Yeah.
Used Lexus versus used any Italian car. Oof.
I mean, if it's out of warranty, there's no discussion.
Yeah, right.
And so that's that. And I think that I found the Alpha Quad to be really, really fun in the canyon. Like, I love the steering. I thought it was better than the new M3s.
It's pretty good on the freeway.
And it was a little bit softer on the freeway than the new M3. Whereas the IS500, I felt like was just like kind of soft.
It's pretty soft.
So it's a good GT car. Canyons, it's fine. Yeah. But it's a 710C.
It's not inspiring in the canyons, but the engine and gearbox are really good. Mm-hmm. It does sound great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I would say Alpha's here for a good time and the Lexus is here for a long time.
There you go.
Michael Cosgrove wants me to compare the Deman engine to this turbo engine. I mean, the Deman engine is more like what the car has from the factory. It's just a lot more of it. The curves roughly mimic the stock car's curves, just moved up by, 100 or whatever it is. This is a totally different thing because even though it is like the stock turbo powertrain, the way it's plumbed makes it sound like a crazy tuner car and feel like a crazy tuner car, even though the engine isn't a crazy tuner car engine. It's just a different engine from Porsche.
It almost feels like a big turbo 935 kind of race car situation with all these big turbo whistle sounds. Like that's kind of what it reminds me of because it's far beyond what a GT2 RS or even a turbo sounds like. It's more into motorsport land.
Yeah. Ha BBL. Would you rather stall every time you drive a manual car or never drive a manual again? I'd rather never drive a manual again.
Can I choose when I stall it?
Yeah, right.
Then that would be the deciding factor.
Right. Can I stall in my own driveway?
Right.
Yeah.
Every time I start and move, I stall it, I hate myself, and then I drive away and everything's fine.
Yeah, I think Zach has found the appropriate loophole to happiness within that hypothetical binary question. Yeah. Matt loves Pearl Jam. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, or Nirvana. Listen, Habibi, I don't rank my artists. I enjoy all of these artists for their own fucking thing. I think a lot of the problem with Nirvana is that they were so popular but had a relatively small catalog.
Yeah,
and almost all of it is just I've heard so much that I am no longer moved by Nirvana. In Alice in Chains, they play a little less. They have a little less music, but they play a little less too. Like that's kind of why I like Pearl Jam is still my favorite quote grunge band because like a lot of the songs that I really love from Pearl Jam are almost like after the whole grunge era ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't consider them grungy. They just sound so different from Nirvana and other, bands that basically use more distortion.
I do love grunge music. I mean, I really do, but can't rank them. It's not cool. Certainly not when fucking the singers of all of them are dead. Like, haven't I talked to you about my favorite Eddie Vedder quote of all time?
No.
Of all, someone said, Eddie, what is the key to, Pearl Jam's, I think it's however many years, it's 30 years or whatever, how they've been together. What was the key to 30 years of success? He goes, well, really, the key is to not have anybody die or break up. That's it, yeah. Keep going. Don't overdose and die or break up. Yeah.
Yeah. An exception to that is System of a Down. I read an interview with the lead singer, that guy, I can't remember his name.
Serge Tankian. Love Serge Tankian.
They're like, how come you guys don't do another one? And part of what he said was like, we're also in a different place. Like it's hard to get that angry and and we don't all want to do it together at the same time.
Well, that's what Andre 3000 said. He's like, I can't make like Outkast music now. I can't like rap about that shit. He's like, I have gray hair. Like, what are we doing? Crispy Bacon. If I were to build my old C5 Corvette today, how would it differ from when you first built it? You know what's funny? Like, not that much, actually. I mean, we did sort of get a lot of that right. It had coilover suspension. It had big brakes. It had lightweight wheels and good tires. It had
do different wheels.
Well, I ultimately ended up with HREs, which is what I would do. I wouldn't do racing harnesses. I'm never taking out the factory seatbelts of a car ever again. And I probably would have gone with a different steering wheel. The wheel I went with was a little too small and a little too far away. I would have spent a little more time measuring what I wanted and where I wanted. And, yeah, but other than that, I mean, that thing had it going on. The car was a good time.
Would you go slightly quieter?
Maybe slightly quieter.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, slightly quieter. But it did have it had a little bit of a drone in that one narrow window, which I hated.
I just know it was 135 decibels when we did exhaust off on the car show.
It was
and
really
like,
loud.
That is like jet plane taking off.
It was so
level.
loud.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, OnlyFans in the building. Is the BMW M850i worthy of being cross-shopped with the Lexus LC? Looking for something that canyon carves on weekends while excelling at daily driving for under $75K. I mean, I suppose, like, yeah, they're technically like Force 2+2 GTs, but like, you put them cars next to each other, it's not even a question for me.
Of which one? Oh, yeah. I'd
To
rather
get
on the LC any
the
day.
Lexus, 100%.
Yeah. The 850, I think, is a better performance car, but I will stop caring about that immediately, and then I'd rather drive the LC.
I'm not sure the 850, without being an M8, is that much better of a performance car.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah, I drove the M8.
Yeah, it's probably kind of a wash with the Lexus LC. The M8 is truly fast, but like, yeah, you put those next to each other, no question.
Yeah.
LC all day. Don't ignore the convertible because it's rad.
Looks so good.
4K Libya, very good, sir. What is the Myron? Oh, Myron Vernus story. Oh, our friend Myron Vernus had a very rare early 911 that was actually not even a 911; it was a 901. That's like before they called it 911. And he was able to sell it for an awful lot of money, and he chose to with a bunch of that money buy like 50 random cheap cars. And that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's a cool
that's rad.
thing. That's a cool thing to do, and that's why he was like the king of jalopnik for a decade. But he's a lovely man, and he has fabulous taste in weird shit. Dre from Houston, what up? Zach, what car is next on your purchase list?
Eventually, I will have to fight myself between a Cayman GTS and maybe a E90 M3. Depends on how much I want to continue spending on maintenance for vehicles. But remember, he also asked us about what he should do with his mom's Audi S4, and we said to get rid of it. He did maintenance and a stage 1 APR tune, and they're keeping it.
Then a daily. All right, cool. There you go. Bad Gardener says, do you agree that some cars only seem appropriate doing one specific thing? For instance, I think the McLaren Speedtail looks beautiful still or rolling, but weird when turning. I saw a video on track. Looked wrong.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
get it.
that's that car is basically supposed to be like a streamliner almost,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's like
Exactly.
the thing.
Yeah.
I think it would look good on like Nardo.
Yeah, but
Probably
even
looks
like
silly at a track
the
day.
long tail 24 Hours of Le Mans cars, when they got really long, and I know what, the Mulsanne straight was straight. I get it. It was, you could win the race on that straightaway. But when I look at those and I go, but they had to go around the corners also. It just looks like a tow truck, with this big thing sticking off the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
mean,
it.
there's I don't want to say there's a lot of cars, but there are some very, narrowly focused cars, usually for racing, that do look kind of dumb when doing almost anything else. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be race cars. I once commuted into Manhattan, and then out of Manhattan in a fucking Hummer. That looked stupid.
Right. Also out of place.
I thought I looked cool, and I did fucking not. Not at all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Whoa. There's a lot happening in that one. I'm going to have to go with the next one. I can't process it. Too many words. Have you ever heard of Nice Cams' question? Is asking us about a set of
We
tires?
have not tried those tires.
Nice Cams, I don't even want to say the name of them tires because we've never heard of them. No endorsement or denial on that one on Nice Cams. Zach would like an update on. Oh wait, here for Matt's Cats would like an update on Zach's BMW in the voice of RFK.
Well, I got a bad power lead in the stereo, so it turns itself off and on. So I can't listen to Alex Jones tell the truth. And the quote on my seats was really expensive, so I might actually have to sell some more books before I can do that.
I thought you were going to skin your own animal and put it on.
Oh, that would have been better. Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah.
There's a dead whale on the beach that I might turn into a seat.
There's that company in Russia doing the whale penis. I'm just going to get my own whale penis. Regular Cat Reviews wants to know about what you're racing in Lemons this weekend.
Right. We're driving this Ranchero, which I got some more information on. I'll make it quick, but it is... they basically tried to make what they describe as a budget like NASCAR truck from back in the day. So V8 suspension, it's got brake ducts for cooling, 4-speed top loader, and I'm excited because it's been kind of sorted out, but it's supposed to be 105 degrees each day.
It's at Thunderhill.
It's Thunderhill.
Thunderhill is so hot.
Yep.
When we do Performance Car of the Year, Thunderhill's 95, and you're saying it's going to be 105?
That's what they said a few days ago. 105 in the daytime. It's a 24-hour race. So, but the guys that built the car...
Have you done a night stint before? Is it a full 24-hour or it's 12 and 12?
Full 24.
Have you ever done a night stint?
I don't think so.
Are you going to?
We haven't decided the order yet. I hope so. I don't want to do Sunset. I would love to do it.
If you can, you should. Are the lights okay on this thing?
That is a question that is still being determined. In the group chat, they built a glowing letter, glowing race number, which you need, which looks really great. And then someone was like, "Did we put the additional lighting on the front yet?" And it was quiet. But it's something we're all concerned about, thankfully. And they said it should run pretty cool as long as you don't take it to redline. It's got a lot of torque, so you don't need to drop it into second for too many corners. It's going to be a test of people and machine. I mean, 105 degrees. Granted, that's only for part of the race, but it's not like it's going to cool off a ton.
No, that's a tough day.
Between 10 a.m. and 6, 7 p.m., it's going to be fucking hot.
Yeah,
so
all day.
No cool shirt.
You don't have one, or there isn't one in the car?
I have one. There's no system in the car.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to lose 5 pounds.
Tough. Yeah. Wow.
Someone's going to crash. Hopefully not. Someone's going to pass out is what I'm worried about, just from the heat.
Regular Cat Reviews also says, why did the 981 generation Boxster Cayman only last 4 years, but the 718 has been around for almost 10? I think because they knew they were not going to redesign a new gas model. Once they knew they were going to the electric one, they didn't redesign it, but they could just, as long as they were selling them, they might as well keep building them, until they were told they couldn't anymore, or whatever. They finished the electric one, or the legislation says they can't sell gas ones or whatever.
4 years is also a very short run for a car.
Well, because a 981 to 718 is a mid-cycle refresh. Yeah. That's not a.
It's still the same chassis and everything.
Yeah, they changed the dashboard a little bit. They changed the front bumpers a little bit. They put different wheels on it, some different colors and options, and they added the turbo motors at the bottom end, and they updated the GT4 and the Spider. Like it's a facelift essentially, even though they changed the chassis code and did the stupid 718 naming thing. That's not like a real generation. Enrico Palazzo wants the Cliff's Notes of my Brussels sprouts recipe. Okay. This is for everybody. This is how you get Brussels sprouts. So the key is obviously in the sauce, but also in the crisp. Okay? So you preheat your oven, convection 400 degrees. You get your Brussels sprouts, and you cut them into halves or quarters. Now the key is you want the resulting Brussels sprouts to all be the same size, all the pieces. So if you've got a mixture of small ones and big ones, some will be half, some will be quarters, and there's a little tiny one, maybe you just cut the stem, leave the rest of it. Though I like to leave the loose leaves in there too. I like some leaves. They get nice and crispy.
Yeah.
You toss that in a bowl, a little olive oil, salt, pepper, toss it on a baking sheet, lots of air in between them, lots of space. You don't want them piled up. Convection, 420 minutes. Then you make your sauce. Tablespoon of miso paste, and this is for like a big, the full-size oven tray of Brussels sprouts, right? Tablespoon of miso paste, tablespoon of chili crisp, whatever sub-variant of chili crisp you like, splash of soy sauce, splash of rice vinegar, splash of mirin, tablespoon of honey. Mix all that up, swirl it in a bowl, like the big bowl, and then when you take the Brussels sprouts out of the oven, 20 minutes, give or take, when they get real crispy, you got to let them sit for like 2 minutes so the steam, gets off, right? So they cool just enough to not be steaming. Throw them in that bowl, toss it all together, serve right away.
Nice.
You got all that, motherfucker?
Do you need the steam to go away so it doesn't add too much water to the sauce?
Yeah, and when if they're steaming and you toss them in the bowl, they get mushy. You got to make sure that they kind of dry out a little bit before you toss them. Then the sauce will coat and they'll stay crispy. Yeah, because you don't want to fucking get that crisp. You just spent 20 minutes getting the perfect crisp.
True.
You fucking throw it in the bowl too early and it turns into a steamy mush. It's gross. Christian says, will Porsche, we're just talking about this, go back on that word and make internal combustion Boxsters and Caymans? Or will they keep it EV and they'll figure out how to do a GT version gas? I think that's what they'll do. I think there will be a GT version that's gas. I don't know. They might get this one right. It's possible. It's possible they build the first great electric sports car.
It's hard. There's so many factors. I mean, there's the U.S. things that are changing, but then I don't know what's going on in Europe with politics and EV mandates and stuff. So they have like one foot in each camp and have to make both happy. That's challenging.
Stew Dog says, what's a watch that I bought that you thought you'd love but just wasn't for you? Oh, there's been a whole bunch. And but I've been I got spoiled because I didn't have to buy them. We got to try them because of the Watch podcast. That shit was golden. I went through 20 years of big dollar collecting in 2 years of demoing watches for the podcast. Seeing shit on Instagram going, oh my God, that's fucking sick. Hey, whoever, send me this to demo. And then it would just show up. And you get that fucking new watch in the mail, fucking heroin shot. That's all right. And you didn't have to pay for nothing. That was really good. And then you put it on, and by day 3, you're like, okay, I'm kind of over this. Or you put it on, you go, wow, that really sits on my wrist like shit, or it's top heavy, or it doesn't fit under my cuff, or whatever. It's fucking something about I can't read it, whatever, and just send it back. So there wasn't a lot of purchases where I learned the lesson after buying some expensive thing, which is lucky. That's well, it's not luck, but it's privilege that I put myself in a position to try every great watch. My tastes changed. When I first started collecting, 2015, big watches were in fashion. And so the stuff I've bought more recently was smaller, and some of the really big ones I had earlier I got rid of. But now I like both. Now when I have the long sleeves, I like the smaller. When I have the big short sleeves, I like the bigger. You fucking even it out a little bit. Lappy McPaddleton? Yeah, Lappy McPaddleton. Worst wildlife encounter you've had while motoring? Oof.
You ever hit anything?
I've hit birds.
Oh, yeah. I've done those.
I've never hit anything like big.
I forgot. This was college. I was driving to go skiing with my girlfriend at the time, and a bird flew across the road, and there was a little rabbit. Rabbit ran across the road, and just left side of Jetta GLX, da-dun, da-dun. And the girl was like, did we hit it? And I went, No, definitely not. And it was real quiet in the car. And I just remember that. I remember it was really quiet in the car.
Zach did not have the sex that day.
I did not. I did not. She was sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I took a bird to the chest while on a motorcycle once, which was pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Encounter. We were filming. We've been filming and been in the middle of the tarantula migration.
Fuck that.
Which is real crazy to see that in the Angeles forest.
We were filming Proving Ground Special at Lime Rock once, and one of the crew was transiting to the track in the morning in the extra Supra. Toyota sent us 3 Supras. We asked for 1. They had them around. But a deer jumped out and just like literally crashed into the side of the car. And that wrinkled the right rear quarter panel, I think, that we had to shoot around after that. So that was fun. It's a good start to everybody's day.
Best username of the month, Buck Melanoma says, we've heard repeatedly about Matt's one that got away Quicksilver Ford GT, but what about Zach? Oh, so many questions for Zach today. Do you have any one that got away? The Mustang, maybe, I guess.
The Mustang is the recent one, but I actually thought of one at Good Vibes this week. A guy let me drive his S52 swap D30.
Oh, yeah.
It was magic. He had the good steering rack in it. Fantastic car. And I remembered that when I was shopping for cars long ago, I had found, and he wants to BAR swap legal it. He wants to do it, get it passed.
Yeah.
There was someone in San Francisco selling like a baby blue E30 coupe that had a bar legal like S50 swap. And at the time they were asking like $8,500. This was before the E30s had popped. That would have been such a good buy because the engine swap would be California legal. And I'm sure that car would now be worth like $40,000.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Eventually, maybe you just like take your M3 apart and put the powertrain into another car.
The car to this weekend was simple, and it had the good shit. It had compliant suspension, decent tires, the right steering rack, and the engine was great.
Yeah.
And, greenhouse is awesome. The car is small. What a fun thing.
Yeah, the best BMW I ever drove was the S54 E30.
The
rules.
maroon one,
yeah,
right?
The best.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Chris says, okay, for the inevitable Cars live action movie in 10 or 15 years, what type of car would Lightning McQueen be? Let me just state my protest flag against that. Like, please just don't do that.
Like, don't make another
Don't
one.
make a live action Cars movie?
Oh,
what would that even be?
I don't know. They're making a live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, okay. But
they made 3 of them, and it's animated, and dragons are fake. So it looks great.
It's stupid. But like at least you're talking about like humans that play humans and like CGI or whatever.
Good point. Yeah,
we're talking about cars,
that would be
like
terrible.
actual cars that in real that would be the dumbest looking movie ever.
Yeah, you either have to do CGI to make the grill move to talk, which is terrible, or you do the Kit Knight Rider thing, which is also terrible.
Yeah. It would be horrible, but I'll play along to Chris's question, even though I hope that this never happens. My snide answer, but the one I really believe in, is whoever pays the most fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's really what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, and Lightning McQueen's is a race car, so it's like and like a NASCAR basically, right?
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much, right? So he would have to be one of the. My guess is it would be a Ford or a General Motors NASCAR
Still be a Mustang, probably.
Yeah. Prashant says, am I wrong in thinking that I am more willing to overlook the looks of a car while Zach can't? I mean, overlook?
I don't know, maybe. I'm definitely very focused
trying to say
on
I buy ugly cars?
No, I think he's trying to say that you judge them by the content of their character.
Yeah. You're shallow.
I am more shallow, possibly. I don't know.
I think there's. I wouldn't say that about you or I, but I think that once I'm inside a car and driving it, I kind of stop caring about what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
I call that the Porsche Cayenne plan of acceptance. Learned that back in 2004.
But when you get back out of it, do you then care again what it looks like? Or
sometimes.
If it drives well enough, you don't care?
If it drives well enough, I care less.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was 20, I would have been 21 in 2004, when my dad got the Cayenne Turbo. I took it out on 684 and allegedly went 150 plus.
Sure.
and I no longer thought the Cayenne was an ugly vehicle.
That's
I
fair.
went, okay, yeah, whatever. That was fucking sick.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Excitement can definitely overcome aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I think also vice versa. Like for me, if the car is drop dead gorgeous, Alpha 8C or something like that, and people go, oh, but it drives kind of mid, and it compared to these other things, I go, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting the fizz from how it looks.
Same thing. Most people that have taken Sennas around racetracks don't think they're as ugly as people who have never taken Sennas around
100%
racetracks.
valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake in Westchester, New York. Shout out to him. Thoughts on the new M2 CS that was revealed at Villa d'Este? I really like the flip tail. Does have the duck tail on it. That's kind of fun. I didn't spend too much time looking at it. I just saw one photo of the flip tail and then went about my life.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
Did you see it? Do you have it?
I had not seen it. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the wheels look great. This color combo of this sort of Nardo gray with the gold wheels, absolutely fabulous. I'm pro that color combo. It's probably one of the better colors for the 2, right?
Yeah, okay. I don't know.
Also, that hard side photo is by far this car's best angle, I think.
Yeah, the proportions are good,
Yeah.
and the little ducktail matches kind of the angles of the front. When people ask me, they go, "Are you going to do the CSL trunk on your car?" I say no, because I think the wing on the CSL trunk is too big. I think it fucks the proportions up. This is perfect, but did they fix the rear bumper in any way? No. Why can't I open these?
What is this like
website is
GeoCities ass website?
AutoEvolution.com
I don't know.
is not good.
I think they've been hacked or something. That or I mean maybe they build a hell of a race car over there. That's
It's better on the other monitor.
It
so
does?
It is. So
Oh,
I'm
it just
showing
won't
it here.
translate into our big monitor? That's
There's just so many. In my opinion, there's things about the M2 that have not grown on me, or
I agree.
I haven't softened on, and this doesn't fix any of them.
I agree. And furthermore, for them, this generation of M2, if I don't have a racetrack, it just doesn't, because you have to. The difference between an M2 with traction control on and one with traction control off is a world of difference. And with it off, it's like wheel spin in 4th gear, and it becomes just a fucking drift missile, which is great if you have the room to safely do that. Like we did at Performance Car of the Year. If we get one of those for Performance Car of the Year, that'd be sick because we have a track to fucking do the thing in. But to then take that car home, and now I'm not getting to do that thing anymore all the time, but I do have to look at it.
And this goes back to the other question. Both you and I agree. Like, this car drives great, and from inside, it rides better than the other one, and it handles great, but it doesn't give us much more than the other one does.
The other
unless
one
you're at a
did those
track.
things well enough
Yeah.
to satisfy me
Right.
and looked a
And
lot
looked
better.
cool.
Yeah. Last one, a bad case of explosive scooteria.
That's a good one.
I like that.
That's a
That's
good
very good. Let's see. Most successful resto mod / reimagine companies target iconic cars that enthusiasts and the general population would be familiar with and generally appreciate. I would say that's true. Think 911, Bronco, Mustang, and Defender. Yeah. What other cars from the 80s and 90s would meet that standard and benefit from improvements in tech and materials? I mean, there's a decent number of cars, but you just have to, the cross section of people who would pay a ton of money to have the best version of that car, and people who are seeking out those specific cars, there's not as many of them. So like 80s Mercedes, like the wagons and shit, the diesel ones, like that's a great one. Those people would put that at their Hamptons house. You know, like Seinfeld's got like a couple of those old Mercedes that are like relatively expensive, but they're mint.
I mean, the Built by Legends folks and other people are kind of discovering what the limit is on how much you can charge for a GTR, I think. And because they're doing that Singer stuff, like let's rebuild everything and make it as perfect as possible and improved as possible. How big is that market, and how much are people willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
But that's why you need an iconic car, because you need the most attention.
But the cars also have to be like built pretty well. Not
Yeah.
really. I mean, you've got Defenders and Broncos, so I guess not.
With enough engineering, you can re-engineer the whole car.
I mean, I think you drove the Grand Wagoneer with the Hellcat engine.
Yeah.
I think there's
That
plenty
was
of
way
people
better.
that would love to have a Grand Wagoneer that would do the job. We may find people we may find a fucking market for like early '90s Explorers. I would be surprised, but
Yeah.
maybe. I think people would pay a good amount of money to have really nicely done two-door Tahoes.
Yeah.
My dad's attorney, John, who passed away last year, but shout out to him, R.I.P., spent six figures restoring a 94 Tahoe two-door for his Martha's Vineyard home, just because he fucking wanted it.
Right.
Yeah, those I think probably will. Early SUVs, maybe. I bet there would be a market somewhere for a Wrangler or Cherokee, non-grand, like a boxy, a square Cherokee.
Oh,
or
yeah,
a
I
Wrangler
could see
that was
that.
done to. If you did a Wrangler with a V8 and a good manual, but like great seats
Mm-hmm.
and great materials and really, really did it up, I bet
Yeah.
you could fucking do that.
There's
Pull
probably
that
shops
off.
doing that we're
Yeah.
not privy to. I'm sure there's a bunch of, but that's a good point. Regular Cherokees that get the same attention of
Yeah.
like the TLC stuff and just nice engine, nice suspension, all those things. Because all it is you're capturing people's nostalgia for something they liked, and then you're just making it something that they have to like stretch their budget to afford.
Hannah would love to have the world's nicest 94 Jeep Cherokee.
Those are good.
Yeah. Fucking, you know what? They seal up real nice, too. If you're going to do double blunts, shout out to Brandon and his 01 teal Cherokee Sport. The most hotbox vehicle in Rye Country Day School.
Well, it's mud
history.
proof and smoke proof.
Man, speaking of which, I've been watching Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple, the
Okay.
John Hamm show. That shit is shot in my fucking neighborhood where I grew up.
What's it about?
It's about this like rich stockbroker, not stockbroker, like a hedge fundy guy who gets forced out of his job and like fucking kicked out with nothing. He's divorced. He's living in like a rental house in a fake town, but the fake town is basically Rye, where my high school was, and they use downtown Rye for like all the scenes of the town. And fuck me, the locations on all the where they're driving through, the suburbs and like the downtown and all that was my fucking life, man. That show. This guy loses everything and starts robbing his friends, like taking watches and jewelry and shit from their houses.
Got it.
Yeah. That's like the Your Friends and Neighbors part of it. But like, fuck this show hits mad close to home. All these fucking D-bags he's stealing from are like my friends' parents. But I'm not going to throw stones. Probably my parents too. Like probably my parents also. Although, but yeah, no, like all the houses, like because you've been to my fucking parents' house. You watch this show and you're like, oh yeah, I know where that is. Actually, I've been there. It's fucking crazy. So it is a pretty good show. The watch cred is pretty high in the show. It is an entertaining show. Thanks, folks. That's it. That's it for today. We got one more tomorrow, and if you're not listening live, then you're probably listening to this while I'm in Italy and Zach is actually racing at Thunderhill, right? Something like that.
Yep.
Little delayed release on these ones, but we got to keep that contento flowing while we are traveling, doing other things, and fucking finding things to talk about while we're here. That's part of the gig. We appreciate you patrons especially, but everybody certainly. And go check out our latest video, which is my 6-month Taycan update. Oh, and we'll also have my video about living with the 911 GTS hybrid for a week. A little bit different than what we did, but I went on the launch and I did a Canyon video and a racetrack video about that, so I didn't want to do that again. So instead I made a video talking about what it's like to live with the 911 GTS T hybrid for a week, and that's going up on the 28th of May. Right? Right.
100% yes.
Okay. That's all. I'm leaving now. Goodbye.